Hello, everybody. This is Chuck G. Violin, and welcome to my newest project. Forgot to hit pause. Bear with me. So this is my newest project. This is Salome County, and that is the name. It is a historical figure from the Bible, Salome. You know, the one who wanted John the Baptist's head on a platter. She does her dance, that sort of thing. But it's also a very famous, a very kind of controversial opera by Richard Strauss. And this is going to be a city, or it's actually going to be a county that is going to have names that are taken from famous operas, whether it be the operas themselves or characters or what have you. So, with the boring part out of the way, let's talk about this map. This map is called Newport. I believe it's just called Newport, I think, by Builder Fox with 2 X's and a 1 for the I in Bill. Anyway, it's just a random map that he or she made for himself. That's the description that was in PDX Mods. I went ahead and grabbed it because I liked the way it looked. It's a large map. We have a lot of elevation and a lot of buildable area in the flat areas. So, there's a lot to be done here. And I'm really very much looking forward to it, to working with this map. I don't know why this didn't go right. Anyways, that being said, I'm having a little trouble with the game. I tried to download City Planner Plays Magnolia mod list, and it really screwed up my game. Very much broken. Not his fault. It's got to be user error on my part, but that's how that went. So I went back to my personal play set that I use, and I have about the same amount of mods. Not all of them are the same, but then I try to include some of the ones that are in his list, and I have now, I think, broken my game a little further. So, hooray for that! Okay, so let's talk about Salome County. We're going to get started here. This is the opening kind of, square. I did purchase these tiles over here so that I could make my cargo port. The cool thing about this map is I generally like to play on easy mode, but I generally like to play the game as it is. So I generally don't play with everything unlocked. And the cool thing is for some reason or another, this map started at level 8. I don't know how that went, but I'm level 8, which is cool because that means I have unlocked a whole bunch of stuff. I have a whole bunch of money, but nobody lives here. So I was able to go ahead and make all the farms I wanted. I've got some ore and some steel mining, coal mining rather. I've got a geothermal, power plant. I've got the advanced pumping station and the that thing, a water treatment plant. Wow. Plus I have a cargo port, and I just kind of put this all in as infrastructure. I've begun road layouts, and that's what we're going to be doing today, is we're going to be doing some road layouts. I will be working on this city off camera, but we will see. I will update you all on the progress as it is going. You'll also see this project on stream on Twitch, and that's Chuck G. Violin on Twitch. So, if you are going to enjoy this, you're not a psychic. Please drop a like and subscribe if you enjoy this kind of content and you want to see more of this kind of thing from me. I would really appreciate it. So let's look at the city. So we have our industrial right here. So this is all going to be industrial. This whole kind of peninsula thing made by this river. Our city is going to be here. This is going to be our downtown. Our main downtown area is going to be here. Now, I've already set up a couple of routes for the shipping. But what I need to do, because we're already seeing, I got nobody to work here because nobody lives here. So I've made some interchanges off of this highway system. I am very bad at interchanges, so this is just like a regular diamond interchange. I do love traffic circles. I spent about an hour, building this all into the side of the mountain. It's going to look really cool once there are houses there. That's all going to be low-density single family. And then, let's see, I made this lovely... this is one of my better efforts, actually, at an interchange. I used the two-way thing here so we could kind of have it all in one, one signalized intersection. Over here it didn't matter as much. And then we do connect. This is going to be really wicked cool. Wicked hardcore. Wicked cool. I just put this. I am going to add some kind of more fantasy elements to this. I was inspired by some of the City Planner Plays build-off submissions. I watched his video yesterday, and oh my gosh, some of those are just amazing. So, anyways, I have everything pretty much connected when it comes to highways, and the main arterial here, which is 6 lanes. This is how we're going to get from the highway kind of to downtown. This is going to be a straight on shot. Now, what I haven't done is anything with rail, and I don't see any rail connections at all on this map, which means I'm going to have to make them myself, which I don't love, but that is a problem for another day. I love that saying. Yes, that sounds exactly like tomorrow's problem. So for now, we're going to go ahead and get a kind of a grid going in here. We're going to get our city going with our grid. I will try not to make this too horribly long. And let's see what is what. So this is all really going to be this whole kind of cape, and we're going to call this city. This is going to be the city of Cape Salome. This is all going to kind of be downtown. We'll call this like Oceanside and et cetera, when I decide to district it out. So what we're going to do first is we're going to make our kind of coastline road. Do I want this closer to the coast? No. So for now, let's use continuous. And of course, we'll have an intersection here. And I'm just going to make this go around, the kind of, the water here. And we're going to come out this way and kind of do this, and then I'll worry about the rest of that later. We're going to do the same thing here, except we're going to kind of come out this way. I don't like that. And we'll go like so. And we'll be, of course, using all of our keys, idiot, keys and bridges that are relatively new to the game. And this will kind of continue out this way. What am I in the way of? Is there power lines or something here? Slopes too steep. Oh, there's elevation. How nice. Okay, well, we'll worry about that later. For now, we are working on a grid. We're going to put some development out here, of course. So now what we're going to do is... okay, I want to get this So here, these are the options in terms of snapping that I like to use. It works almost all of the time. In terms of getting a clean grid. Okay. See what I mean? I mean, this grid's still broken, but that's because this road down here is at a different angle. We'll send this one all the way through. And we're going to come back in here with, smaller roads. All right, so I want to keep this at right angles at 90 degrees. So we're going to send this guy right across and then connect up here. Some traffic circles might be in order. And I don't mind having some, I'd like to have an interesting layout, so I really don't mind some curvy roads. I mean, we're going to have some weirdness in here, I'm sure. But for now, I'm going to save. I turned off autosave because that also messed me up. I think we can run this one all the way through as well. Again, we're going pretty standard here for a grid. I think maybe we'll do this side of the road slightly different. And, obviously these grid sizes are a little bit on the big side as well. So, we're going to have some alleyways in here splitting this up. We'll do that in a little while. All right, so we're also going to want to do these across here. Yeah, I don't like that angle, but it is what it is. I'm going to turn this snapping back on because I want to make sure I'm lining up with this road. It's pretty close. All right. This area, I think here we will do something a little more interesting. Kind of like this. I don't know. I want to do something interesting, so we'll do that. That's going to leave us plenty of room for additional stuff. And then we can get this guy connected up. And I think we can go this way, and this way. Again, we want something that's interesting, but we don't want chaos. So, generally the cities that I have been to, and I've been to many of the biggest, the two that I know the best are Chicago and New York. I was born in Chicago. I also lived there as an adult, but I spent a large portion of my, teenage and 20s in New Jersey and spent a lot of time in New York. So, these are I see a lot of grids, and New York is the quintessential American city grid, where it's as simple a grid as you can get. I always loved the fact that you cannot get lost in New York City, because if you need to be, at 52nd Street and 8th Avenue, that in order to get there, from where you're at, you need to go this many up and this many over. So I always liked that about New York. Chicago is a little different. Chicago has presidents and states. And so, it's not quite as simple to navigate, but it's still a pretty hefty, grid system. And once you memorize the order in which the states, Michigan, Ohio, et cetera, and the presidents, you have Monroe and Adams and et cetera. Unfortunately, it also throws in a few regular names, like there is literally a State Street, and it gets a little more complicated. But anyway, grids are still grids, and it's still very interesting to me to go ahead and get them, get my own city kind of created here. This is a really fun game for me. Let's save while we're here. So I'm going to do kind of the rest of this street stuff in time lapse here, but I will see you pretty soon. So what I've done is I've kind of finished out the grid of the larger roads, the main, the 2-lane roads with, with the sidewalks. We'll start doing some alleyways here in a minute. But what I also did is I did this kind of shoreline road, which is going to get the key, or is going to be keyed, so to speak. We need to fix this just a little. This is a little anarchy here. That way we can just kind of go right into the bridge there. Let's see what our zoning looks like. I mean, it ain't great. I mean, there'll be other roads in here, but okay, let's save again and let's get to work on our keys. Now you can do this one of two ways. Now, of course, we have the new keys and bridges and stuff, and that's how I did most of this over here. But not all of it. Some of it I made the traditional way, which is what I used to do, which is, use the flatten tool, right-click in the water, and go ahead and just carve this out with the keys already on the road. Now, of course, I forgot to delete the trees. So, oopsie. Let's get these trees out of here. That's much better. I'm going to run this just a little bit to get some water in here. Make sure we don't flood. And that is fine. I generally don't, kind of similar to City Planner Plays, I don't pause a lot when I'm working on my city. But I do when I'm doing roads. And then in this case, the game hasn't started yet, really. I don't have any residents. I don't have any industry. I don't have any commercial. And I have not zoned anything yet. So, I'm just kind of doing this. I'm going to run the game and let some of this go ahead and spawn as water. Just give the water a chance to kind of do its thing. And I'll pause again. Generally, I use a small brush like this. This is a trick that I learned from Infrastructurist, who is, I think, my favorite city builder. No offense to City Planner Plays. I love him as well. But there's just something about watching Infrastructurist videos and the crazy attention to detail. And anyways, and that accent. Oh, so cool. I thought he was German for the longest time. He is not German. He is Danish. He is from Denmark. Let's get rid of more trees because we don't need no trees in the water, that's for sure. I love this map. It's obviously, it was made by a guy who is not a regular map maker because there are some issues here and there, like all these stupid trees. Where? Okay, we have water. That all looks lovely. Let us continue. I don't want to leave it on play for too long because I have some errors. Oops. I have some errors with, I need some people living here to work at all the places that I've purchased and built. I hope that wasn't too plosive for you. And then if you ever cut it a little bit too close to where, oops, I did that, just right click here. And it took me a good long time to get used to these elevation tools. I do a lot of golf course designing for the PGA 2K series of games. And, we have elevation tools that are quite powerful in that as well. It takes a while. God, the trees in the water, dude. Come on. It just takes a while to get used to all of the controls to any new game. Like, I don't know how to do a lot of stuff. I'm still very much a novice at this game. I try to learn, from watching videos of, some great city builders. I was watching the City Planner Plays build off finalists video, and Fozzie's city is just, good Lord. The creativity and the the detail, and just, it's so freaking good. All right, I'm going to leave this kind of as it is here. We'll just kind of smooth that out a little bit. Let's hit play and get our water back in. And yeah, I know nobody lives here, so ain't nobody going to work in your place. Like I said, I generally like to play the game, as is. I like to go ahead and start at level 1 and work my way up. And it's, sometimes it's more difficult when you have a lot of things unlocked because you're going to be stuck, needing all of these things and probably not having the money for it. Like I need schools and hospitals and police and all of those things right now. And yeah, I have more money because I've skipped all these levels, but, all right, so how are we doing on roads? Roads are good so far. Where is this road going to go? I think he's going to connect up over here. Yeah, and it just depends on whether I want to make something cool or not. I would like to be able to zone as much as possible on these roads, so we're going to just take him and go like this. So this will be developed and road layouted in another episode. We're going to try to not have this be like the super longest thing ever. All right, I'm going to put in some alleyways now. And, just to kind of tighten these blocks up a little bit and make it so that I can have the zoning that I want. This grid is not lovely, if I do say so myself. So, yeah, roll the music. Okay, so we've got roads in a fairly general sense. We've got, decent enough roads to start getting this thing zoned up. I'm going to start doing some zoning right now real quick at the end of this. And then for our next episode, what you will see is you'll see that we've gone ahead and gotten some stuff, we've got a city moving here, and we can start talking about things like rail and our bus network, and we've already got some shipping, but we, of course, want a passenger terminal, which I believe is probably going to be over here because this will be like beach or something. We'll see. But I'm going to go ahead and get some stuff zoned here real quick, and I'll see you guys all next time.